we're just rocking along on another Victory Monday. You know, it's been about, what, 6 in the last 7 weeks. No big deal. No big deal. Like
no big
flights.
deal.
We
Yeah.
ain't new to this. We ain't new to this.
Yeah,
We're true to this.
comes around now.
With that new Salmon record, though, Spencer.
Yes.
Detroit Lions are on the prowl for a playoff berth.
They're more than on the prowl. They are in the heat of playoff contention. They are, you look at two of the teams that they're battling for, the Lions already whipped. And one of the teams, they lost on a pick 6 to. So the Lions had proven that they deserve that spot. The Lions have proven that they are a playoff level team, a playoff caliber team over this past 7-week stretch, where they've gone toe-to-toe with everyone, knocked all of them out except for a Super Bowl favorite in the Buffalo Bills that came down to a single throw. So this is impressive to me. Like I said, this Detroit Lions team would be the first team in the NFL since the Cincinnati Bengals in 1970 to start 1-6 and make the playoffs. This is something that doesn't happen. When you're 1-6 in the NFL, you're dead. You're dead. Because it's so tough to win games in the NFL that you don't go on a 6 out of 7 streak and are just dominating teams that you would have got blown out by at the beginning of the year. It doesn't happen. You don't change things around like that in the middle of the season when you have the youngest roster in the NFL, when your only player over 30 years of age doesn't play anymore. He gets scratched for games. That doesn't happen. These young guys don't click that fast. But guess what? They are. And that is a testament to Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and this coaching staff, that they have these young guys turned around so fast. None of them sold out. They all stayed bought in, even when the team was at 1-6 on the brink of imploding the season. They go out there and they pop off a streak like this. It's extremely impressive. Not only inspiring hope for Lions fans, but giving the players something to believe in, that this actually works, that this Dan Campbell thing actually resolves in success, that this Dan Campbell behavior and coaching style can win games. And they went out there, they proved it to themselves, they proved it to the city, and now they're proving it to the national media that the Lions are here. The Lions are real. They're not scared of you. They'll go into your house and they'll whoop your ass. And this is something we've been asking for the Lions for a long time, and it's finally becoming a reality. And I'm just so excited.
And to be honest with you, like, if you were to ask the Detroit Lions to do what they've done, and again, like you said, let's start the season 1-6 and somehow turn it around miraculously and then win 6 of your next 7, and then to be in the conversation for the playoffs. Like, if you were to ask that of this team and Dan Campbell at that point in the season, I would have told you you're on crack. Matter of fact, I told you guys, relax, be patient. I don't see this ship turning around until 2024. I don't truly see this team compete until 2024. When has anybody been able to say that this team's ahead of schedule with this situation?
Not for a long time. They've been looking behind schedule.
100%. Yeah, it's looking like they've missed the bus multiple times. You know what I'm saying? The train's gone. They missed it. And like and like you said, it's a testament and a credit to the regime. Not just Dan Campbell, but Brad Holmes, and not just Brad Holmes, but also your offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Like, to have the wherewithal to, I guess, level him up, upgrade him to the offensive coordinator position from a tight ends coach. Like, I'm not going to say it's a risk because he obviously was, like, well-respected throughout the league. I know Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals, he really wanted Ben Johnson within their organization to help them win football games. But it was Dan Campbell who chose to do that after also having the wherewithal and cojones. We know he has the cojones. I mean, the game-winning touchdown happened on the 4th and inches. But to have the cojones to fire his friend Anthony Lynn and promote Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. Like, that takes something too. That's also accountability as well. You look at your team. You're not in denial of, like, why you suck. You look at your team. You find out, why do I suck? And he found out why. And he went to his best friend that he asked to return out of retirement, and he's like, I gotta let you go.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he hung out throughout the rest of the season as whatever he was at that point, offensive quality control. I mean, I don't know. Cheerleader.
He's just chilling. Chilling on the sidelines, getting a check.
But the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, are ahead of schedule. And to have, you said, again, that's the point, they were 1-6, bro. Like, you not only did you keep, like, the players bought in, you kept the personnel in terms of, like, all your coaches bought in. Because especially at the point, too, you fire Aubrey Pleasant, the other guys are looking around the room, too, like, damn, like, who's next? Who's next if this thing keeps sliding down? Because it's not looking good for us. JB, where you at with the something Detroit Lions on the brinks of a playoff berth?
Yo, I'm proud of them. You know, I got to give them credit. That defense was very tough, and they went out there. They got the job done. Now, question for you guys. I don't know if you saw this, but this is what I seen, and I don't want to poo-poo on our, the Victory Monday as it is right now.
Don't even try.
But I'm just saying, did it seem like they were playing a little timid? Like they seemed like they had something to play for. They just didn't want to lose.
I think it was part of the game plan.
I think it was part of the game. When you have a cornerback like Sauce Gardner who locks down half the field, that takes away a lot of the play calls you'd want to run. That takes away a lot of the passing action and different things you want to do in the offense. So to me, yeah, they were playing a little timid because they didn't want to make mistakes. They didn't want to give the Jets short fields or do things like that because they knew that even with half of the field locked off, they'd be able to move the ball a little bit, and they did move the ball a little bit. They just got set back by penalties, so they couldn't punch in some of those touchdowns.
Yeah.
Fair.
And that's what it is for me. Is you're going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL, so you need to be a little timid. You can't go guns blazing unless you're Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't just go in there and do what you normally do and it'll work out. You have to build the game plan around that. And
that's the next segment, though.
Yeah, we will.
So relax a little bit. Relax.
But for 7 consecutive weeks, the Lions have done that. They've built a game plan around who their opponent is and have been winning games, which is leading them to a playoff berth. This is something that I didn't think we'd have to talk about. This isn't something that I didn't think, especially even at the beginning of the year, I had them at 7-10. And you look at when they were at 1-6, you think maybe if they get 4 wins, this will be a good season. But now they're out there smacking teams around, going into hostile environments against good teams and beating them.
And by the way, too, for the playoff berth situation, obviously, best case scenario is Detroit Lions win out. That's what the Detroit Lions fans, that's what Detroit Lions as an organization, they can only control what they're in control of. But if you did want to keep an eye on the stock watch and what's going on, it's in our favor, guys. You got the Seattle Seahawks going on the road to play the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, that's not a ideal environment. I know a lot of people think Seattle's the loudest place, and they are like the second loudest. The loudest is the KC Field. I don't know the name of it by the top of my head. I apologize for that one. But that's obviously in your favor. You got those guys going to get stuffed, their studio stuffed.
I got that tweet about the scenarios, too.
Yeah, throw this up. And then there's the second one. Obviously, the Commanders, you saw them take a loss last night. They're obviously in competition with us, too, which we have the tiebreaker over. But the Commanders have to lose on the road against the red-hot San Francisco 49ers. The key things those conversations are against those teams, I should say, is on the road. On the road against the Chiefs. On the road against the San Francisco 49ers. And we know as Lions fans, those 49ers fans are passionate, and they travel well. They filled up our studio last year. They stuffed our studio at Ford Field. There was a lot of red last year. I'm just saying.
Hey, yo!
But that's in your favor!
Yes.
Now, the one matchup I'll say, I'm not going to discount the Commanders in the matchup against the 49ers because, as we learned yesterday, any given Sunday.
I am. The 49ers are going to blow them out.
I'm not. You have the Brock Purdy experiment going on there, too.
They still have the best defense in the NFL.
That's fine. You still got to score points as well, though.
They can score points. They got Kittle, McCaffrey, and I don't know if Debo's back.
Yeah, Debo has a little knee
Brandon
situation.
Ayuk's been balling this year.
And I told you guys earlier, too, and I don't have a graphic for this one, but obviously Detroit Lions, best case scenario, 3-0. 2-1 with the Packers, 52% chance. 2-1 with a loss against, 2-0 with the loss against the Panthers, 52%. 2-1 loss to the Bears, 52%. The Packers is the one we can't afford to lose. But even them, and then part of that is because, it's very possible the last week of the season, you'll be battling out with your in-division rivals.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers for that playoff spot. But the Packers, they play the Rams tonight, obviously. After that, the Dolphins, who are hungry to get a dub because they're on a bit of a skid. And they go to the Vikings then, and then they got us. So, the Packers, even that situation isn't really faring well for them as well. Yeah. Exactly. It's very achievable. If you told me this on 1-6, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, I would have told you you're stupid.
Really stupid. And like you said, too, I think you said in the first segment, this defense is borderline top 10 as of late. And yesterday there were some situations it didn't look like to be the case.
Did not look great.
But even then, bro.
They still held them to 17 points.
What we tell you guys last week, we told you guys about this brand new Lions, but specifically the rushing defense. They haven't let up 100 yards in the last, 8, 9?
Yeah.
And you saw it again yesterday, only 50 yards.
Zonovan Knight, 13 carries, 23 yards.
The plays that they moved the ball on, I'm talking about the Jets, were just like those home run, they got them.
It was big
those
deep
50-50. Yeah. Unfortunately, they got it. But that happens. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not going to, like, I don't know, our guy Ryan Lance is trying to bash Jeff Okudah, and you guys know I always defend, like, the defensive guys especially, but Jeff Okudah especially too. Like, I get that he was a 3rd overall pick, but we have to, like, move on from, like, his draft position and start to evaluate him as a player on this team. He didn't pick the pick where he was drafted. You know what I'm saying? And I think overall, throughout the season, he's had a pretty good year.
He's had a very good year.
I mean, the best of the best get burnt sometimes. Jalen Ramsey got burnt plenty of times last year in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of all games. But also, I guess it was Zach Wilson. Garrett Wilson's nice, though, too.
Garrett Wilson is nice. There was a couple places that stood out, but for sure, they played an overall good game. Like you said, they got burnt a couple times, but that can happen. That can happen. But the defensive line stepped up and made plays and bailed out some of the secondary issues, because we all knew that the secondary wasn't the strong suit of the defense. But